Coming up on the Paper Talk today, we're chatting about Leny Yoro. I think he's completed his medical now, so is he a Manchester United player? Well, he should be announced any moment now. He might already have been announced by the time you're watching this. Also, what does that leave? Well, where does that leave the deal for Matthijs de Ligt? Could that still be on? It looks like it could be. And United could be in for two midfielders. What is going on at Manchester United? We're going transfer crazy. Let's get into it. Jay here from Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather's quite alright. Yeah, it's mild. You probably don't need your parkers. Loads of stories to get through this morning. We're going to be talking about, obviously, Leny Yoro. We expect that deal to be announced anytime soon. By the time you're watching this, it might have already been announced. Also, we're looking at Matthijs de Ligt. Does Yoro coming in mean that we won't be getting de Ligt? We're getting into all that. And also, we'll talk a little bit about the midfielder situation, because it seems that Manchester United are going to go a bit turbo in the midfield situation. So make sure you're hitting like, share and subscribe. Let's start with Leny Yoro. There's a report by James Ducker in the Telegraph saying that basically he's echoing what a lot of other people are saying, to be fair, but he's saying that medical's pretty much done. We expect an announcement today, barring any sort of twist. Leny Yoro should be a Manchester United player hopefully by the end of the day, to be honest with you. I think it's all sort of sorted in terms of the deal, the structure of the deal, the terms. Just the medical's the last thing to do. You usually have your deal sorted, don't you, before you give him a medical. You don't go, let's do a medical and then we'll negotiate and see if you want to come to the club. So expect that any moment now. We've spoke about it loads on the channel, and I'm not going to tire from speaking about it. A massive coup for Manchester United, mainly because Real Madrid wanted him. We know they were interested in, and we know that Manchester United, it shows, still have a lot of pulling power, because when a club like Real Madrid wants a player, you think that's over and done with. But Manchester United, Ineos, Erik, whoever, probably more like Dan Ashworth and his mob, have managed to convince Leny Yoro that his future lies here at Old Trafford, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what he has to offer. Everyone I've spoken to who's watched a lot of this kid absolutely raves about it. It does seem like he's the real deal, and whisper it quietly, are we allowed to use the word generational? Maybe we are, because he does seem that good. So that should be announced any moment soon. However, that doesn't mean we won't be in for Matthijs de Ligt. According to James Ducker again in the Telegraph, he's saying that United are still pursuing that, still looking at de Ligt. Could still be an option for us, and we still want to get that deal done. And just on that now, one of the reasons why there hasn't been a sort of big leap forward in that deal seems to be the price, a little bit of back and forth with Manchester United and Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich wanting closer to 50 million, Manchester United wanting to pay closer to 40 million. Now, Bayern Munich have been interested in Jonathan Tah from Bayer Leverkusen. That has been one of their targets. Now, according to the Metro the other day, I saw this, I think it was yesterday, they were saying that Manchester United are also in for Jonathan Tah. Now, I wonder if that isn't just a bit of shenanigans, for want of a better word, by Manchester United. In fact, not even for want of a better word, I think that's the right word. Where United are going, okay, you're not going to give us de Ligt for the price we want. Well, maybe we'll get Jonathan Tah, the target that you want. Maybe we'll offer Bayer Leverkusen a decent amount of money, or we'll try and get him from Bayer Leverkusen, and that can make life difficult for you, because that is the target that Bayern Munich want. They want Jonathan Tah. I mean, it's a win-win for them, isn't it? Taking not just a very good defender, but one off the Bundesliga champions, one off your rivals as well. So you're weakening them and making yourselves better. I mean, it's a double whammy. I don't think there's concrete interest from Manchester United in Jonathan Tah. The reason I say that is because it's sort of come out of the blue. There hasn't been many links. There hasn't been any sort of rumours or reports where you go, oh, United are looking at Jonathan Tah. He's next on the radar. There has been heavy links when it comes to Bayern Munich and Jonathan Tah. And it just feels like United might be throwing a spanner in the works there to try and push forward the Matthijs de Ligt transfer. One thing I will say about de Ligt, whether it's de Ligt, whether it's Branthwaite, even though Branthwaite looks like it's dead in the water, we need another centre-back. We are still, even with the signing of Leny Yoro, weaker now than we were at the end of last season. Now, that's not having a dig at the kid Yoro. He's a fantastic footballer. But to lose Raphael Varane was a blow, even though he's probably had to go because of his injury record. But you've weakened the defence there, because he's a first-choice centre-back, and a very good one when he plays as well. Let's not forget, proof of that was in the FA Cup final. You've also lost Willy Cambuala. I mean, is that a B or a fly? I'm always getting attacked at this spot. You've also lost Willy Cambuala. I know he only played a handful of games last season. Jonathan, very formal. Johnny Evans has obviously signed his contract extension. He had a few issues last season. I love Johnny Evans. 37 though. How much can you rely on him? It feels like we're still a bit short in the centre-back position in particular. So bringing in someone like de Ligt on top of Leny Yoro, would make a lot of sense to me. Now, whether that's going to happen, we'll have to wait and see. But to me, it feels like it will do. I think there's a keenness from Bayern Munich to sell. De Ligt, I think they're not that keen on keeping him. I think if they were, then this wouldn't have even got off the ground to start with. And I think Manchester United obviously want him. There's just a little bit of negotiation to go through. And let's not forget, United seems to be in this position now where we're not just paying what clubs want. We're not just going, well, what do you want? Right, we'll pay that. Now, some people say, well, Leny Yoro, we paid over the odds, or we paid what Leo were asking. I think we paid towards the top end of what Leo were asking because we knew that Real Madrid were there, and even though the player had 1 year left on his deal, he could have seen that deal out and gone to Real Madrid. So that is slightly different. However, when it comes to, say, Branthwaite, for example, Everton wanting 70 million. Back in the day, United would have just paid that like we did with Harry Maguire paying 80 million to Leicester. However, it seems that United aren't doing business like that quite the same way anymore. So we'll wait and see what happens with that one. But I think De Ligt is still a target for Manchester United, and I expect that deal to get done, to be honest with you. I'm not ITK. Anyone that watches the channel knows that. It's just a feeling. Talking of incomings as well, Manchester United are being linked with 2 midfielders. I saw this in the evening news. I think this first one, Adrien Rabiot, has come via Football Italia. And this is saying that Manchester United are going to hold talks with Adrien Rabiot. He's been a long-term target of Erik Ten Hag. We almost bought him a couple of summers ago, if you remember. It looked like it was going to happen. I think his, was it Veronica, his mum? Yeah, his mum's his agent, and I think Richard Arnold or John Murtaugh, it might have been actually, flew over to wherever it was to go meet Adrien Rabiot's mum to negotiate. Didn't quite happen. I think they wanted more money than United were willing to pay him, so he ended up staying at Juve. However, he's a free agent now, so it looks like that deal could be back on. It's sort of, we're going to hold talks, we'll hold talks, I think is the party line coming out of Football Italia. One to keep an eye on, obviously a midfielder in a position that we need strengthening in. Erik Ten Hag's a fan of his. It could work. He's got a bit of a reputation, hasn't he, Rabiot, as being a bit difficult, and he's had a few sort of incidents, but when I looked at his history, it's not that bad, to be honest with you. There's, nothing major where you go, you got to keep away from him. He's an absolute disaster. So I wouldn't mind Adrien Rabiot coming to Manchester United. I think he could be a decent player, especially if he's on a free transfer. Get involved in the chat in the comments and let me know what you think. The other midfielder that we're being heavily linked with, Manuel Ugarte. Now, this is doing the rounds again. I've seen this in the Manchester Evening News saying that, and I think this has come via Sky Sports as well. They've been reporting that Manchester United have entered a dialogue with Ugarte and with Paris Saint-Germain to try and get him here. So it looks like talks are advancing there. I expect Ugarte actually to come to Manchester United. He's another one I can see that deal happening. I think that there's a possibility of a loan. We've seen reports that maybe United will go for a loan move. That could work. We know that I think PSG are looking at João Neves. So that's going to cost them about 70 million quid. They probably need to bring in some money. I know they're not exactly skint, but they'll still want to bring in some money. So if they can get a guy off the books or maybe get some money for them, that would work well for him. I think that would be a deal, again, like the one with De Ligt coming to Manchester United and Bayern Munich getting Jonathan Tah. If Paris Saint-Germain got João Neves and Manchester United got Manuel Ugarte, seems to fit everyone. Happy days all round. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think about all them stories. Are you looking forward to seeing Leny Yoro? Do you expect the deal to be done? Has the deal been done by the time you're watching this? What's going to happen with the midfield situation? Do you think we should get Rabiot, Ugarte, both of them, or neither of them? Also, De Ligt, is he going to become a Manchester United player? Going to be back later on with Off the Bar. Myself, Joe Smith, and Stephen Alston will be there for that one. So make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I've been Jay Motty. This has been the Paper Talk outside a pretty mild Old Trafford. Thanks for watching.